Hey guys, Joe here. Today we're gonna go back to the roots of my channel. We're gonna do a lot of reactions to trailers, whether it's film trailers or game trailers, TV show trailers of upcoming TV shows that I know I'll be reacting to. And the films that I'm doing trailer reactions for, I will make sure I do a review for those films. And the games that I'm doing reaction trailers for, I'm definitely going to play those games as well. I don't know whether I'll be live streaming any of these games or any of my content at the moment, mainly because I have really crappy internet connection and it's a bit difficult to get other rooms in the house right now. But I'll definitely be playing these games. So I'm going to start with the game trailers, and the first one coming up we're going to do is the Resident Evil 8 trailer, the new Resident Evil, which I'm really stoked for. I've played every single Resident Evil, at least every single one of the main games, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I've also played Resident Evil Outbreak. The only Resident Evil games I haven't played are the Code Veronica games, and a lot of people have been saying that instead of a Resident Evil 4 remake we should be doing a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake, because that's the one in most need of a remake. And I would only agree for the fact that I haven't played the originals. I think it would be a great idea to get a brand new version of the, pardon me, of the Code Veronica game, because it'd be like witnessing a Resident Evil game for the first time, but it's not new, it would be a remake, and I can then play both back to back and it'd be great. So Resident Evil 8 I'm really stoked for. Resident Evil 4 remake I'm still excited for nonetheless, but I'm also terrified. And the reason I'm terrified is because Resident Evil 4 is still the best Resident Evil game in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other people. It's not my favourite Resident Evil game as such. My favourite is still the guilty pleasure of Resident Evil 3. When I was younger I used to play that all the time. I just loved it. Yes, it was shorter. Yes, it's not technically the best game, but I just enjoyed it the most. Resident Evil 1 probably is second best technically. The best technically is Resident Evil 4, and I actually really like the gameplay as well, and I am looking forward to it, but I'm also scared. So let's just get straight into the Resident Evil 8 trailer, and we're also gonna have an in-depth look as well into the game, as far as I know, with a special developer's message, so that's also going to be added to the end of the trailer. So let's get to it. Let's go. His story comes to a close. Whose story?
A young girl went with her mother to pick berries for her father. It was hard work. But the forest greeted them with a dark, cold smell.
This reminds me of Resident Evil 7.
Which was empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free of Mother's grasp and vanished into the trees. Mother's worried cries faded fast as the girl ran on, over vines.
That's Mia's voice. That actually sounds like Mia. It's her accent and her tone.
And into the forest deep.
What is it with that creepy story?
It's just a local tale.
I think that's Mia, and that was Ethan.
Into that stuff.
It is Ethan's voice. So we're moving on with the new characters from Resident Evil 7. Amazing. Okay. It'd be nice to get some more character development with them.
Who are you? Who sent you? What's going on? They're coming. Who is?
What was that? Some mutated man. Okay. Ooh. Wow. Oh my god. This is so much like Resident Evil 4. Look. It's like the graveyard. Lots of outsides after. Oh, that's a logo. Dead horse. This is so much like Resident Evil 4. It's got that it's got that vibe to it. That rural vibe. Wow. That mansion is gorgeous as well. But it's almost like a castle. And who is this Dracula man? Okay. Werewolf. Interesting. This is like Resident Evil 4. And again, they've gone for they probably only called it village because they could fit 8 in it in Roman
Chris?
numerals.
Sorry, Ethan.
That's Chris. Wow. Okay.
Why?
Why would you shoot Mia in the face multiple times? True. Does that mean Mia's dead in the next one, or was that not really Mia? Interesting. Okay. We're actually going to go through the trailer bit by bit. So let me have a quick look. Okay, that was interesting. I usually go into a game or a TV show or a film as blind as possible. The most I react to is a teaser trailer. But I thought I'd react to this game mainly because I heard that it was going away from traditional Resident Evil, so I felt that it's going to be less easy to predict what's going to happen in the game from the trailer. So, and I think that's pretty much it. So it's interesting. It seems like they're working a lot with old legends and, you know, old style monsters. You've got what looks like, obviously, you've got werewolves. That could just be a person infected with a certain virus that causes them to become more animal-like rather than into the blob-like creatures we know and love from Resident Evil. And yeah, and they've got a mansion, almost like a castle in there. It's almost like they're building the entire set in the game for Resident Evil 4, and they are just creating a different game out of it, but then they're going to reuse, you know, the castle and that village for the Resident Evil 4 game, which makes sense. You know, it saves a lot of money that way and saves a lot for the development. You can just rearrange things and it's pretty much there already after making Resident Evil 8. But there's lots of vibes from it. You know, you got the old lady who, she actually, well, she looks like a witch, but she also reminds me of the oh god, what's that character from Resident Evil 4? The merchant. She reminds me of the merchant. So maybe we're going to have a merchant in this. Maybe she's going to be selling stuff, and she's like just an old lady at the corner of the street with her wares, you know. You've got a mysterious looking man with sunglasses. Don't know who he is. Again, he could also be a merchant. He looks a bit merchant-like. You have some ladies, vampiress type ladies. One of them looks suspiciously, and I say suspiciously like this, I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt, but she looks a lot like Alex Wesker. She looks a lot like Alex Wesker, the one with the big hat. Let's just get straight into it. So let me go. So obviously so let's just play it again and I'll talk through it. So his story comes to a close. I guess I'm talking about Ethan. So Ethan is only in Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8 is his last outing, but at least we get a bit more character development. So you've got snowy environments are great in horror games like Until Dawn and many other games. It works really well, but you have to have the sound design to go with it and the lighting, which Resident Evil is very good with, so I'm not worried. So this is Mia telling a story to her child. So her and Ethan have a child, and they're entering the forest. We do see like a fetus being displayed with like crow wings and stuff like that, which is reminiscent of the cow legs and all that, the horse legs, whatever they were, that were created into some sort of mural in Resident Evil 7. It's that sort of vibe to it. So maybe it's a similar virus to that.
Who sent you?
Maybe Evelyn survived. I don't know. Right, I don't know who this man is, but I have heard also that there is a new main character. So maybe this man is that person, but then again he's dying. I don't know. I presume he's dying there. This music is so tense. Love it. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. So you got a statue of a woman with a shield. Clearly another door puzzle. They like their door puzzles in Resident Evil. I'm going to pause it at this graveyard though. Well, I call it the graveyard. It might not be a graveyard. So you've got what looks like, first of all, the gates to the chapel, to the church from Resident Evil 4. That's what it looks like. And then behind that you've got what looks like a field with lots of fencing and they're clearly scarecrows and talisman type objects. that again reminds me a lot of the graveyard from Resident Evil 4, along with the fences and the wooden shacks and everything like that. So I think they're clearly preparing themselves to make that with a tighter budget, maybe. It's a creepy old lady at the edge of a hallway, reminds me a bit of Marguerite from Resident Evil 7. And this might be the new character. It's a girl. I see her in more than one scene here. There's a man with a shotgun. I presume he's attacking what looks like the werewolf, because the werewolf was the one that attacked him. I presume he has silver bullets in there. But that's only if it is an actual traditional werewolf. I hope they don't go that way. I hope it's a man that's infected with another umbrella. You can be infected with an umbrella if you want. It wouldn't really work, I don't think. I hope it's a man that's infected with another one of Umbrella's viruses. Maybe not a traditional one that we know of, but something else that changes the physiology of his body into some sort of animal wolf-like creature. So in that respect, legends shouldn't really work like silver bullets and garlic for vampires, anything like that. It should be all about science, really, and I hope it still sticks to that element. Okay, there's the baby. There's Ethan and Mia's baby. Sleeping, nothing much. You've got that same symbol with the crow's wings on either side and the fetus baby. Maybe the fetus has something related to do with, like in Resident Evil 7, where you had that weird fetus where you need to take the head and then you take the arm off that girl that had the virus, and you can create like a antidote with it. Maybe the baby, maybe Ethan and Mia's baby is the antidote, and whoever the evildoers are in this game, they're after the baby. This woman, that's her dad maybe, or family member. I have a feeling she is the new character. Again, I haven't really looked too much into it. And now we've got a Resident Evil, an Umbrella logo with a horseshoe and a mermaid and a sun and moon. It actually looks like one of the crest logos that we had in Resident Evil 1, where you'd put the crest logo onto the tombstone and it spins around and you get like a weapon or something like that. But it's looking like you need to get 4 of these square logos so it's like 4 objects to put in there and then you get an object. I don't know, whatever. It's another puzzle. I hope they listened to Resident Evil 3, and obviously this needs to be a bit longer than Resident Evil 3, but also it needs more puzzles. For me, Resident Evil was all about trying to work out what's happening, and there wasn't enough puzzles in Resident Evil 3. There's even more in Resident Evil 7, but that still kept the same nightmarish survival horror experience that we all want from a Resident Evil game. Okay, she's terrified, something's coming after her, or someone's just died, I don't know. There's crows all flying up ahead, and a man with blood on his face, don't know who that man is. But the crows flying up ahead, again, I hope they bring the crows back, because the crows have been missing since Resident Evil 4? Oh god, I don't even remember anymore. I haven't played these games for a while, but yeah, we haven't had crows to kill for ages. Definitely not in Resident Evil 7 or 6. Not in any of the remakes, which I think was a travesty. Resident Evil 2 remake, or at least Resident Evil 3 remake, should have had crows in there. Or at the very least, with big tarantulas. We didn't have either of them. So I hope the crows make a comeback, because this is clearly there's loads of crows and it's a perfect environment for it in the countryside. A dead horse. So is that horse got a virus? Maybe that man wasn't turning into a werewolf. Maybe he was turning into a horse-like creature. I don't know. The man with the shotgun is holding it against who I presumed was his daughter, so maybe it's not his daughter, or maybe he's infected, I don't know. Goats, just loads of animals. Hopefully you don't have to go around killing horses and goats, you know. I've got enough things on my plate in a Resident Evil game. And this witch lady, she's clearly got some sort of charms hanging from her head, almost like a gypsy woman, I don't know, but I hope there is a merchant in this, and I hope she is the merchant. You never know. I hope she's a good person. She looks evil, but she also looks like she could be a kind old lady. You never know. Right, this woman definitely looks like Alex Wesker. But when I say she looks like Alex Wesker, she looks like the Alex Wesker that's in the Resident Evil multiplayer game that came with Resident Evil 3. Her face there looks like her face here, and that's really interesting. Don't know what this weird virus of fly insects are coming from around them. Reminds me again of Marguerite with her moths and bugs and insects around her. So maybe it's using the elements of that to steer a bit away from the traditional zombie part of Resident Evil, and we're going more with the virus turns people crazy and starts manipulating their body, but also you start getting other things happen that aren't zombie related, like insects and wild animals involved as well. If that makes any sense. It didn't when it came out. I don't get what I just said, but anyway, I hope you do. You've got a group of, two women on the left look relatively normal, I think. Two women on the right look like something from Van Helsing, so they do look quite vampirish, and she was eating from the wrist of one of them, as we'll see in a minute. That chandelier and that main hallway in the mansion looks incredible. It looks beautifully rendered. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that pans out. I hope we spend quite a lot of time in. I keep calling it a mansion. It looks more like a castle, a palace, but it looks amazing. So hopefully loads of doors to unlock, loads of puzzles, a bit like Resident Evil 1. That would be nice. And then a man jumping off that shack with what looks like a giant Warhammer axe. Not sure. It looks like there's going to be quite a bit of action in here, and to me, the man with the sunglasses at the end with the long hair, I can only imagine him carrying a hammer like that. I don't know if it is him, but that's what I can think of. That was Chris in the doorway. There he is with his weird smile, and there she is eating from the person's wrist again. It seems weird. Maybe it's not real. Maybe it's like hallucinations or something like that. It just doesn't seem. I'd be disappointed if it's literally werewolves and literally vampires and this and that. Just to me, it doesn't make sense to have that in a Resident Evil game. Yeah, it's definitely like a werewolf. And bear in mind, the virus can cause hallucinations, and we saw that in Resident Evil 7, and it's probably one of the effects of becoming infected anyway. Yeah, it's a great title logo with the 8. Again, they did very well with that, but I have a feeling Village was created after the Roman numerals, so just had that lid to that. Chris. I have an issue with Chris's design. I liked Chris's design in Resident Evil 7. They seem to have gone back to Resident Evil 6 where he's like really bulky. Everyone uses this analogy, boulder smashing, because that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in any game, I think. Punching boulders, what the hell. I don't like the Resident Evil 6 style for Chris Redfield. I don't understand why they didn't use a Resident Evil 7 one. They've changed his face in every single game. Don't get it. But he's clearly bad in this game, so maybe he's a clone. Or we had Jill Valentine, who'd gone bad in Resident Evil 5, so not necessarily bad, but being controlled. And again, that might be introducing us to like the Las Plagas virus, which is it's a parasite which infects people and then controls their brain, and that could be the link to Resident Evil 4. So I have a feeling they decided to do Resident Evil 4 after 8 because they're linking the two together. Because one of the big questions was, how did they... So we suddenly left from the Raccoon City exploding to a few months later ending up in Spain, and not really barely mentioning what happened in the events in Raccoon City. So that was always quite strange, so maybe they're trying to link the two together. That should be interesting. Let's move straight on to the special maker's announcement.
Hi, I'm Tsuyoshi Kanda, producer on Resident Evil Village.
And I'm Pete Fabiano, also producer on Resident Evil Village.
Oh, hopefully we get a bit more of an in-depth look into the game.
Check out and enjoy our trailer.
With no spoilers,
Some of you
obviously.
are probably wondering why we didn't just call the game Resident Evil 8.
Well, it's still the 8th in the series.
Because it looks good to have
we're
the
treating it as such.
Roman
you can even
numerals.
see the Roman numeral 8 in the game logo. So it's
Pretty
Resident
obvious.
Evil 8, just not in name.
Yeah, I like the play on the design and simplicity in the name. But we'll touch more on that a little later. For now, why don't we just jump in and let viewers know a little bit more about the game itself.
First off, Resident Evil Village will be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Steam.
Right,
So glad
and
it's
in
on
line
Steam.
with previous Resident Evil titles, we're using RE Engine. That engine brought Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, and most recently, Resident Evil 3 to life. We were able to take all that we learned from those titles, along with our internal development efforts, and optimize the latest version of the engine for the next generation of consoles.
Okay, I'm
With
excited
the
by that
combined power
because
of
Resident Evil
next-gen
Engine's
and our
great.
engine, we can take our developers' vision to new heights. Once again, we're planning a fresh take on survival horror, this time upping the ante on action a bit.
So it is more
Realistic
action,
graphics and immersive audio, coupled with
But it's
no
still
load
survival
times,
horror.
will really draw
Fingers
you
crossed.
into the world we've created for Resident Evil Village.
Speaking of which, the game takes place a few years after the events of Resident Evil 7
how they
Biohazard.
got a baby.
Right, and it follows the story of protagonist Ethan Winters. Ethan's gone back to living an ordinary life, but of course, it wouldn't be a proper story without a new challenge to overcome. Chris Redfield, a decorated hero fighting against bioterrorism, makes his return, but not in the way you'd think. He's the reason Ethan's life gets turned upside down. Let's take a look at some
So
key
it's
art.
probably not actually
You can
Ethan
see
then.
Chris
Sorry,
looking
not
dark
actually
and
Chris.
far more brooding than in earlier Resident Evil appearances.
It's not the real Chris.
The last
probably.
thing worth mentioning
Maybe a
in
clone
terms
or
of
something.
characters here is the village itself.
It plays such a crucial role as the backdrop and setting of the game that we consider it very much its own character as well. Right, shifting gears, let's talk a bit about the game's
Ooh,
design.
yeah.
You'll notice the familiar first-person perspective from Resident Evil 7
I
Biohazard.
prefer third
It really
person,
helps
but
bring players into the world.
it
makes
worked
them
in Resident
feel
Evil
like
7,
they are
so
Ethan,
it's fine.
with the same sense of heightened tension and fear.
Here's a quick look at the game running in engine.
The team is working really
Okay.
hard to create a great experience. You can really see the details, even close up. Let's take a look at the inventory. For players
Whoa,
who
whoa,
love
whoa,
Resident
whoa.
Evil 7 Biohazard, or the recent versions of
Whoa.
Resident Evil 2 and 3, you'll be right at home.
Pause it there. I'm sorry, but this is the same. This is the same inventory system as Resident Evil 4, and that was the best inventory system ever. I just loved it, and I loved it because it was a bit harder, where you can just constantly keep storing things in a box. You literally had a limit to the amount of stuff you could hold, and if you ran out of room, you had to bin items. Even if it was a weapon, if you can, so that to me leads me to believe that there probably is a merchant, so you can probably sell your weapons to get other weapons. I love this inventory system, and you can still obviously make it bigger, an extra square on, the horizontal and the vertical line. I love this inventory system. I'm so happy. Yes. This was an evolution from Resident Evil 1, 2 and 3 that I enjoyed. It's a change that I was happy with. Well, as much as I like the inventory boxes, it makes it a little easier in that respect. So hopefully it makes this game a bit harder. I'll probably end up playing this game on hard mode. I usually do normal mode. I never do assisted, but I might actually start on the hard mode for once, because I've played these games long enough and give us a bit more of a challenge. But yeah, this inventory system, I'm hyped already.
3, you'll be right at home.
We hope you enjoyed this additional look into Resident Evil Village.
Okay, sure.
Oh, and here's one more piece of key art. You might want to
Yes.
pay extra close attention to this one.
There's a lot that's being shown in it. So much so that we debated whether or not to actually put it in the announced trailer.
Take a look and let your imagination run wild.
We're
Okay.
aiming to have more to show you towards the end of
So I hope this is like a
So,
secret
until
that
next
they've
time.
not given away by showing us it. But it looks like 4 crow wings, or it could be 2 crow wings and a crow tail, but I think it's 4 crow wings in a nest, a crow's nest. And crow's nests are, well, synonymous with having eggs in, with baby crows, you'd expect. And you've got a fetus, but it looks like a cross between a human fetus, and it has like tentacly type, proboscises coming off it. So here's what's interesting. It looks like a human fetus, and on its back it looks like it has some sort of Las Plagas type virus on its back because of the legs sticking out of it, the tentacles, almost very face huggerish. So maybe that's like a fetus that's infected with the Las Plagas or a similar type of virus, again linking it to Resident Evil 4. The crow wings are synonymous. There's 4 wings. Each crow has 2 wings, so I don't know, it's synonymous with 2 birds. One the father, one the mother, and the baby crow is in the nest, which is representative of the fetus. So maybe that's representative of Ethan being one half of that crow. The other half of the crow would be Mia, and the crow baby in the nest will be their child. So their child is clearly connected to it. Their child either has the virus or a virus within it, or it is secure to it. That's what I'm getting from this image. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's my predictions. I don't want to, ruin it for myself by thinking too deep into this, but they're my predictions. Their baby clearly has something to do with it. So that was interesting. So first person, I still prefer, I said already, I prefer third person, but first person was very good with Resident Evil 7, so as long as it follows along that and it's the controls are pretty easy to use, then I'll be fine with that. First person is definitely scarier, and even more especially if you're using VR. I presume, I haven't used VR, I've seen other people use VR and they're all shitting their pants everywhere. So there's a possibility I might even have VR by that point next year, so yeah, if I do, I'll definitely be using that. But yeah, that inventory system, very happy with that. The gameplay they showed us was like just 5 seconds walking into that main hallway of the castle mansion. So they didn't really show us any gameplay, which I'm actually happy with because I don't want any spoilers, I don't want it to ruin anything for me. But I'm glad that sort of gave nothing away of them making you think more, and I'm not going to watch any more trailers for it. I don't want to watch any gameplay, I don't want to know anything else about it because I want to be as blind as possible when I go into the game. So I can't wait to play this game, and I can't wait to I'm a reactor myself, I can't wait to watch other people play this game. I'm really looking forward to it. So, and I hope you are too, and if you've got any comments about what you think of this game and what you think of my predictions, let me know, and I'll be happy to hear them, because it's all predictions from all of us at the end of the day. No one's actually got any spoilers, to the best of my knowledge. If you do, shut the fuck up. So yeah, thank you for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe, and well, I'll see you on my channel for the next video. See you soon.